Welcome to What If Turles Was Canon. Now, people have done this a lot, but I've decided to make it so Turles raises Kakarot. Why didn't I put that in a title? Well, because I didn't name it that on the poll, because I didn't think about doing that, so now it's too late to rename it. With that being said, let's get to it. We cut to Bardock. Bardock was about to send Kakarot off to Earth, but then he remembered something. There was a Saiyan named Turles who left the Frieza Force. He yelled and raved about some sort of conspiracy, about how you're all gonna die, you're all idiots. The King Vegeta has led you straight to the grave by working with Frieza. Then he left. Frieza forces were looking to kill him, but no one could find him, except for Bardock. Bardock knew him quite well. They used to work together before they had disagreements and he left his crew. He knew there was a little planet he'd like to visit every once in a while. It had massive trees everywhere. He was crazy. He always talked about the trees and about how they gave him power. But everyone just called him crazy. And eventually, everyone kind of forgot about him. Sure, he was still wanted and people went after him, but at this point, Turles wasn't worth much and no one took him seriously. However, this is why Bardock knew he would be safe with Turles. Since no one takes him seriously, he's just some crazy guy who talked about trees and ran off. He wasn't even that good of a warrior. He was a brilliant scientist, but his insanity got to him. Bardock would look at Kakarot and sigh. He didn't know what was on Earth, but he didn't know that Turles had a liking for him. Even though they had a fallen out, he still had a soft spot for him, so he would take good care of Kakarot. Bardock decided to send Kakarot off to the planet. As Planet Vegeta was blown up, Kakarot would land onto the planet, as Turles would walk up to it, and he would see a note that said, "Hey, I know we had a falling out, but I decided to give you a little gift. I figured you could use some company all alone." Turles has been in on this planet for a year, trying to figure out how to harness these trees, how to make them bigger, how to make the fruits give him more power. As he looked down, he saw baby Kakarot and smiled. He would go out and start to hunt for him, and feed him, and raise him, and train him. But Turles didn't train a lot. He was more focused on these trees. He had fruit that gave him small power-ups. The energy of the trees were inside the fruit, and this gave him the energy of the land. However, he could get stronger. He can make these trees bigger. If he can make the tree turn into a parasite and eat the whole planet, he can devour the fruit and become more powerful than ever. However, no matter what he did, he couldn't reach it. He tried steroids, magic, ki, other techniques, but no matter what he did, it just wouldn't work. He would try this more and more and more. Eventually, Goku would be a kid. As Kakarot would actually be quite smart in this timeline, having Turles raise him. And Kakarot didn't really know Turles was insane. He became obsessed with the trees, but to him, this was normal. And Kakarot didn't know much about the universe, but he did know a lot about science, and he helped Turles. Eventually, Turles would be able to combine steroids with ki, and eventually make the right drug to make a tree become mighty. Turles walked up to one of the trees and says, "Are you ready, my son, for the first tree of might?" Kakarot looked up and say, "Yes, father. It's time to make the tree." As Turles grabs onto the tree and begins to put his ki into it and inject the steroids into it, at first nothing happened. Turles fell to the floor and said, "Damn it, damn it, damn it! Years and years of my life put to waste for nothing!" But then suddenly the tree began to grow as it began to devour the planet and reach almost into space itself. As Turles looked up, he began to smirk and he said, "That ki and steroids was your idea. You did it, Kakarot. Now let's devour the fruit. What do we do after this, father?" "After this, we destroy planets and get stronger and stronger until we rule the universe together." They would both fly up into the tree trunk, and with the tree trunk there was many limbs. As Turles grabbed one of the fruit and began to eat it, he fell down. As he began to breathe, his heart began to shake. As Kakarot looked up, scared for Turles, but then he got up as his muscles expanded and he felt himself get stronger. He ripped off his scouter, which is a scouter he hacked, so Frieza couldn't track him or tell what he's saying. As he threw it to Kakarot, saying, "What does it say?" He scanned it and said, "Your power level went up by 1,000. Turles says, "Only 1,000? Well, this planet doesn't have much to offer. There's only 2 pieces of fruit. because how barren this planet is. Only trees. The more life, the more things we can have. This planet just has trees and fish. However, once we go to another planet with more life, we should get even stronger by eating the fruit. He would throw Kakarot the fruit, and as he ate it, he fell to the floor and then got back up. His muscles expanded as he felt the power. As then Turles took some seeds, and he says it's time to go. Kakarot said, where? To another planet. They both got into their space pods and went off to a new planet. This planet so happened to be Earth, and as they landed, they so happened to land on Kami's house. As Master Roshi got out, he sensed their power levels, and he knew they were in danger, but he sensed their evil content. As he said, you'll never have the Dragon Balls. As Turles then planted the seeds, he looked and said, Dragon Balls, what are those? Master Roshi then turned buff as he did a Kamehameha. As Goku saw it and said, wow, cool move. As then he used a Kamehameha. As it blasted Master Roshi, killed him. As Master Roshi died, Krillin would run out, crying. As he looked at him, Goku walked up about to kill him, but then Krillin said, wait, I'll tell you about the Dragon Balls. You said you mentioned them. Remember, this is Kid Krillin. Kid Krillin was a bit of a prick for a while. And he would just start out training with Master Roshi, so he wasn't that heroic yet. They would agree, as Krillin would tell them everything they knew, everything that Master Roshi told them. Then, Turles would blow him up. Too bad there's not a better way to track these so-called Dragon Balls down. Oh well. We're gonna have to hurry before the planet is completely rotten because of this tree. Kakarot agreed, but the planet was so big. I mean, true, they've seen bigger planets, at least Turles have, but finding 7 tiny balls across an entire planet, even with max speed flying around, this would take a long time. Not to mention that there's many different directions, and it can be in a cave or a hole or under an ocean or a lake. It would really be impossible to get them all. As they all kept thinking and trying to search, we cut to Kami. Kami could gather up all the Z Fighters for a last stand, but that wouldn't be enough. Even with this, he thinks it might not be enough, but it's his only hope. As Kami decides it's time to fuse again with his other half. Kami would get Shen, Tien, Tao Pai Pai, and many other martial artists. And he would decide it was time. It was time to become one with King Piccolo. Even though he might lose himself a bit. Even though he might argue with him. It's the only way. As he found a rice cooker. The rice cooker that King Piccolo was trapped in. As he unsealed him, King Piccolo would walk out and look at them all angrily. What the hell do you want? Kami would say, sense their power level down there. As he pointed, he began to sense Kakarot and Turles' power level. As King Piccolo fell down, never sensing something so strong. As then he looked and saw a tree covering up the entire planet. Kami says, this planet will die, and you want to rule a planet. Well, you can't rule anything if there's nothing left. And he's gonna kill us, all of us, unless we stand together. And there's only one way we can do this, Kami said, as he put his hand on King Piccolo's shoulder. King Piccolo looked at Kami and says, yes, there is. For you, but for me, there's another option. I'm a quick learner. Suddenly, King Piccolo would use the evil containment wave on Kami, but this used up a lot of energy. Tien and Shen and Tao Pai Pai all charged at King Piccolo. King Piccolo knew that he couldn't defeat them all one by one, so he had to defeat them all at once. King Piccolo would summon all of his energy as he stretched out his 2 arms as far as he could and hit everyone into one spot, as then he shot a ki blast. This killed all of them as he fell to the floor. Using the evil containment wave and doing this massive ki blast took a lot of energy out of him. He was going to have to rest, but he was going to have to make it a short one. He needed to hurry. As then he saw Bulma. Bulma ran away as he stretched out an arm and grabbed her. Where are you going, and why are you here? You don't look like a warrior. I don't sense much strength from you. I made this thing called a Dragon Radar. It brings in Dragon Balls. Fascinating. So with this, I can search for the Dragon Balls? Thank you, Bulma. For your contribution, I'll spare you. Of course, you'll probably starve to death up here. But hey, maybe Mr. Popo has stuff for you. As then King Piccolo flew down. He was going to get the Dragon Balls for his plan. Now, he could wish for eternal youth, but that wouldn't be good enough. He probably would still die to the others. Maybe he could wish to be the strongest, but even if he did that, he didn't know if it could work. So he had to do one thing, something that he hated. He had to submit. As he brought the Dragon Balls to Kakarot and Turles, he then bowed and showed them the heads of the people he killed and said, "Hello, my new masters. How may I serve you? Please spare me. I have brought you what you need." Turles would walk closer and closer to King Piccolo until he just looked at him and smirked. "As a show of good faith, I'll let you have this wish." Kakarot looked confused. But, Turles said, now, we don't need it now that we got the Tree of Might. Soon Frieza himself will bow before us. But since that he's loyal, let's have him get stronger so he can work with us better. King Piccolo would smirk as he would summon the dragon. He would wish to have 2 wishes. Then he would wish for eternal youth and wish to fuse with Kami and keep his personality. King Piccolo felt his power grow exponentially, but he still wasn't stronger than the other 2. However, that's okay. He'll just play the long game. And that is going to leave things off. There wasn't a lot of climax battles since everyone was a lot stronger than them, but don't worry. Soon they'll fight Vegeta's crew and even Frieza himself, and I'm excited for that. And yeah, I know Turles canon has been done quite a few times, as commenters have been pointed out, but guess what? Having Goku raised by Turles is an interesting twist. And I didn't keep the title that way. I didn't title it, what if Turles raised Kakarot, so you wouldn't know that would happen. So that twist was a surprise, You know what I mean? And more people would click on it this way. Or maybe more people click on it if I titled it that. I don't know. Just watch these videos and enjoy it, please.